talked about the relationship and task tension chart. We talked about how to build trust. So now let's talk about likability. Likability plus trust equals rapport. In our example here, we have Johnny. Johnny has that magnetic personality, you might say. See that magnet in his hands? Everyone's drawn to him. All those thumbs up. People love Johnny. So what are the component parts that feed into Johnny's magnetic, likable personality? Johnny is very disarming. To be disarming is to be the opposite of what most people think about when they think of like the cliche sales individual. Disarming means that you are relatable, that you're approachable, that you're not intimidating. When you're disarming, you're open to all ideas, being told no. You're open to a different way that the prospect thinks about the sales process or the solution or the service that you're selling.
I guess I never thought of it like that.
So a disarming disposition is generally someone that's open-minded, who's smiley maybe, but not over-smiley. That sounds weird. Enthusiastic, charismatic, but not overdoing it, right? They're very approachable. Another characteristic of someone that we generally find likable is someone who is thoughtful. So what does it mean to be thoughtful? Being thoughtful can take shape in a lot of different ways. It can be the time and the space you're giving the prospect to think about the deal. Anything from how we set our meeting, when we set our meeting, our deal terms, maybe add a sweetener to the deal because this is something that's really important to them. So you were thoughtful, you thought about their wants and their needs, not just your pocketbook. And through your actions to demonstrate that you're being thoughtful and respectful of their needs, wants, hopes, dreams, and desires greater than you prioritize the outcome you want.
Got to reevaluate your priorities there, man.
Another characteristic of likability is to be sincere. And sincerity can take shape just like thoughtfulness in a lot of different ways. You can be sincere by telling someone that you actually don't think your product, service, solution, or experience is a good fit for them.
This might seem bold. If you don't truly believe that what you're selling can be of value, can really help that person, I personally don't believe you should try to sell them what you have. I believe you should recommend someone else, or you should go on to the next prospect who does have needs that you can really meet. And by the way, trying to sell something that really doesn't work, it takes a lot of time. It doesn't have a lot of repeat business. It's just not a smart thing to do.
That can be a really sincere thing that can actually, ironically, help you get the deal closed. When we think about being sincere, it's as much about being authentic and sincere as it is avoiding sounding insincere. So here's a quick example. Someone's telling you about how the revenue is declining, and so they're having that sales conversation with you, and you say, okay, good. So you continue your line of questioning, and you fill the response to their answer with just a canned acknowledgement. Oh, okay, got it, totally, yeah, gotcha. All that filler, totally insincere. You cannot be authentic if you're being insincere. You have to find it within yourself to give a shit. And if you don't act like you do. That's inauthentic. Be sincere. Let's get back to class. Be aware. Specifically, I mean having a level of social awareness using our EQ or our emotional quotient indicates that we are aware. We're self-aware. If we're running late, we call them because we're aware that that might be frustrating. So we give them some advance notice. To be aware might be to know that your price of your product, service, or experience is more expensive than others, and just to call it out and talk about it.
One of the biggest obstacles we have is self-awareness. So for at least 10 times in the next week, videotape yourself on a sales call, rewind it, and look at what you're doing and what you're not doing. Try to look at the video through the eyes of the person you're talking to, and then you'll truly understand what they're seeing. A really specific reason why we can videotape ourselves to increase our self-awareness is anytime we might move from inside sales to outside sales. We move from a situation where maybe the person can't see everything because we're not on video or we're not in person, to a place where we're selling live or on video. That's when we really need to increase our self-awareness.
Another is this idea of mirroring, to mimic, not copy, but to relate to your prospect's tonality, their cadence. If they lean forward, you might lean forward. If they're speaking really fast, you might speak a little bit quicker. Do not mirror and copycat, but try and match their disposition. Why? Because we as individuals, as humans, we are subconsciously drawn to people that look, sound, and act like us. While you need to be uniquely yourself, you also need to know your audience and match their presence. So if they're a very calm, kind of slow, concerted person, then don't come in all fired up, talking really fast. You're gonna freak them out, okay? That is not disarming. That is frightening. So before we move on to step 2, set the agenda. In summary, building rapport is something that happens quite quickly. When we look back to the time markers we discussed, at most it should be 12 minutes. On average, this is a 3 to 5 minute process. And so with that, we'll move on to step number 2, which is set the agenda.